Welcome to Sara Gonzales Unfiltered. I'd like to welcome to the show, and then I'd like to get to an order of business that we need to get out of the way very momentarily. First up, Matt Mausden, Blaze TV contributor and actor and producer extraordinaire, along with Eric July, Blaze TV contributor and founder of Ripaverse Comics, which everyone should go check out. You'll notice our deportation tracker, day 7, a little bit of an uptick there. We are now confirmed by Homeland Security, 7,300 deported. That's right. That's right. Goodbye. Bye-bye. Don't come back. So apparently there were a bunch of data drops, I guess, last night, because we were still at like almost 1,200. And then all of a sudden it was 7,300. So just another day in the Trump administration. Again, day 7.
Can I
Yeah.
No. The children.
They're not children.
No, they're not children.
They're not children. They're criminals.
But the problem is like these stupid people are pretending to cry. I mean, it's just ridiculous. Anyway, I'm drinking the tears right now. Cheers. Yeah, wouldn't want to be. Yeah, bye.
Salty but delicious.
Mm-mm.
So speaking of that, more tears from the left. Last night, in a memo, President Trump announced a freeze on nearly all federal grants and loans. So all of these federal agencies have to temporarily pause all activities related to obligation or disbursement of all federal financial assistance and other relevant agency activities that may be implicated by the executive orders, including but not limited to financial assistance for foreign aid, non-governmental organizations, NGOs, DEI, woke gender ideology, and the Green New Deal. Now, I do want to talk about the first press conference of White House Press Secretary Karoline Leavitt, who is just a freaking pro. So I want to get to some of those other relevant clips later, but I want to play for you Karoline Leavitt talking about the details of this freeze when she was asked about it in today's press conference. Watch.
I think this is a very responsible measure. Again, the past 4 years, we've seen the Biden administration spend money like drunken sailors. It's a big reason we've had an inflation crisis in this country. And it's incumbent upon this administration to make sure, again, that every penny is being accounted for honestly.
Why impose this pause with so little notice? Why not give organizations more time to plan for the fact that they are about to lose, in some cases, really crucial federal funding, at least for a period of time?
There was notice. It was the executive order that the president signed. There's also a freeze on hiring, as you know, a regulatory freeze, and there's also a freeze on foreign aid. And this is, again, incredibly important to ensure that this administration is taking into consideration how hard the American people are working. And their tax dollars actually matter to this administration. You know, just during this pause, DOJ and OMB have actually found that there was $37 million that was about to go out the door to the World Health Organization, which is an organization, as you all know, that President Trump, with the swipe of his pen in that executive order, is no longer wants the United States to be a part of. So that wouldn't be in line with the president's agenda. DOJ and OMB also found that there was about to be 50 million taxpayer dollars that went out the door to fund condoms in Gaza. That is a preposterous waste of taxpayer money. So that's what this pause is focused on, being good stewards of tax dollars.
Makes perfect sense to me. Makes perfect sense to me. But of course, the leftist media and the Democrat leaders are just, I don't really know. They act like they're in panic mode. I'm not really sure that they are. I think that they're just fear mongering because that's what they do. They like to stir this crap up. And so I want to play for you some of these Democrats' reactions here to all of this. Donald Trump saying, hey, we should stop giving away millions and billions of dollars without having accountability and tracking what it's doing and where it's going. Watch.
Last night, President Trump plunged the country into chaos.
Oh, no.
Without a shred of warning.
Oh, no.
The Trump administration announced a halt to virtually all federal funds across the country.
Oh, chaos.
In an instant, Donald Trump has shut off billions, perhaps trillions of dollars. And just like the January 6th pardons,
Oh, no.
this decision is lawless, dangerous,
Wait, pardons are lawless now?
destructive, cruel. It's illegal. It's unconstitutional.
This is their first salvo, of course, but what is really behind this? I mean, is everything through the lens of what's a Marxist policy? And they put that language in there. So what are we really talking about here? So we are into governing, not panicking. And as I said, I'm not playing whack-a-mole with every single initiative that comes out of Washington.
How do you actually go forward if you have an executive who says, we only follow the law we want, we only fund the programs we want? Well, in the Budget Committee, the Democrats are calling for the vote on Russell Vote's nomination to be postponed until this current crisis is resolved.
This illegal move is a massive overreach by the Trump administration. The American people did not vote for this kind of senseless chaos.
No, we didn't vote for chaos. We did vote for what he just did. We did vote for that. Of course, with the Department of, DOJ, we did vote for figuring out why the hell you guys are taxing us into oblivion and taking our money and using it to fund condoms in Gaza. We very much did vote for that. Now, I want to get your thoughts on this decision, but I would like to point out the irony in Chuck Schumer saying that this is cruel. It's cruel no, what's cruel is that you are taking 40% of the money that I earn and stealing it from me and giving it to places that I have no control over. That is cruel. That is cruel. It is cruel that I have to work nonstop for my family. My husband and I work nonstop to feed my family. This guy, even more so because he has like 1 million kids.
2 million kids.
You know how hard he has to work to feed his family? And you guys think that you can just come in and take 40% of our money? And just hand it over to your pet projects? That's cruel. That is actually cruel. So good on the Trump administration for pausing this. And I want to talk about, where some of this money is going and just talk about some of the context of the government just literally just blowing our money on pet projects. But I want to get your thoughts first on this overall decision by Donald Trump to do this.
I think it's awesome, but we're seeing it straight away. The deep state is still there. It's still doing its thing because he clearly said, I don't want this happening. I don't want that happening. And they're like, quick, let's sneak this money out. We're going to hear more about this. There's more that's going to be going on. And the great thing about these little sneaky moves is it exposes the bad guys, right? It exposes the deep state, which I think is great. And of all things, I know we've had shrimps on treadmills and all these other stupid things. Why are we giving 50 million? Firstly, that's a lot of condoms. I'm just saying, it's a lot of condoms. But why why? What national security interest does that benefit us? Like, how does that benefit the United States in any way, shape, or form? Tell me, Eric. Come on, you're the guy.
Why are we funding drag shows in Ecuador? Why are we funding any of these useless projects? Because they don't care about your money.
Here's the thing, and this may sound harsh because I know there aren't as many maybe full-blown libertarians that maybe watch the show. If you need federal funding to exist, you shouldn't be able to exist. Period. You're operating on stolen funds. Operate in the private sector like everybody here at the table has to, in which we are required to have voluntary exchanges in order for us to exist. If you need federal funding to exist, I don't give a shit what your cause is, you should not be able to exist. You're operating on stolen funds. So this is one of the more positive things that Trump has done. Now, what I would encourage everybody to do is each year, he's done it each year, I'm sure you can look it up each year, Rand Paul has done this Festivus report, right? Is one thing I cover every single year. I look forward to it because I don't think the American people understand just how much money is being spent on absolute crazy stuff. Pigeons literally learning how to play slot machines. They spent a lot of money on that, not joking. Lizards walking on treadmills. They spend money on stuff like that, right? So, yeah, sex changes in Saudi Arabia or whatever, stupid, like it's all. Now, granted, We know that's not what the funds are being used for. Obviously, there's some funny money going on, but it's all over the place. That's not to mention all of the funding that's happening here domestically, in which, again, they are literally pet projects. They're funding these nonsensical research programs that nobody asked for, but it makes these Ivy League crack smokers feel like their degree is worth a damn. So they get all this research money that's coming directly from the federal government to look up nonsense, right? Everybody should look at what they're spending things on, and immediately folks go to, well, so-and-so can't operate, so-and-so can't operate. And I'm sitting here like, okay, a lot of folks are a lot more, I guess, nice about this subject than I do. I'm gonna be honest, I don't really give a shit what you're spending the money that you steal from me on, because I need that, right? There's a lot of useful things that I could do.
Money.
It's mine, right? And there's a lot of useful things that the American people could do to spend that money far more efficiently.
Hold on. How about this? I agree with you. I don't disagree. But like, also, I don't care if it is useful or not useful.
That's true.
It's your prerogative to spend your money however you want.
That's perfectly put. It's their money. They earned it through voluntary means. So if they wanted to blow it themselves,
they should be able to.
They should be able to do. They have the freedom to do that. And I'm not. In fact, I'm arguing against it, that the welfare state should not be saving these people that want to spend their money recklessly. But this is government in action, right? They got a lot of people dependent upon this system through grants, through funding, through loans, in which it makes it seem like, look, all it would take is one generation. If the government monopolized shoes, it would take one generation for everybody to be like, well, we should end that. And then everybody would then scream, well, you must not want people to have shoes.
Right.
What's going to happen?
Right.
That's they've conditioned everybody to think this way. But I am always going to, I don't want to say trust, it's lack of that. It's more of people are going to spend money far more efficiently because they have to earn it.
Yes.
What people don't seem to understand, it's why it's not simple as trying to shuffle the people around in it, right? Voting for more people in office that have this mindset. While, yeah, that may aid, it doesn't really solve the issue, because the core issue is that government isn't a producer. All of which they have is stolen via taxation or selling off assets of unborn people using the Federal Reserve as well as the Treasury, right? So unlike you and like everybody here at the table, if I am providing a service or a good to someone, it has to meet a certain requirement or meet a certain set of, like a standard for that person to either buy it or return, right? And buy it. Government doesn't operate that way. So what incentive do they have to spend money efficiently? Right. They don't have any incentive to do it at all, right? So they're meant to be inefficient. But yeah, we need to get rid of all the welfare statism at all levels. I'm not talking about just obviously the individual level. I'm talking about a foreign aid and everybody's giving, just throwing the money like it's going absolutely out of style. And she brought up a great point, and that does contribute to all of the inflationary efforts that you see.
Yeah.
Well, can I just say, just as an addition, how many times has it been rolled out that the lie, 97% or 93% of scientists agree in climate change, right? And this goes back to the research thing, because who do they go to? Mm-hmm. And so if you are getting funded on climate change, it behooves you to say that there is climate change.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And then what it does is that is a ripple effect that goes out along. Okay, well, we can't drill. Now we can't drill because of this. The Delta smelt. We've just seen it. We have to have the Delta smelt because somebody somewhere needs to study that. No, this is ridiculous. Yeah. And if we decentralize again and we put it into our own communities, there's a reason why the hospitals are mainly Christian hospitals, because they started independently away from the government with religious orders saying we need to take care of the people. And then guess what? The religious people in that community would fund the hospital
voluntarily,
and they would go there and they would spend their money there. And guess what? If they were spending $50 on a hammer or whatever it is, quick smart, the people in the community would go, hang on a minute, I'm looking down and I'm itemizing this. What are you doing? And when your money just goes off into the ether and you don't know where it's going, and all we hear is like, we need more money all the time. The school system is probably the worst example of that.
People don't understand how much money the government spends on that per pupil. It's funny. And they still ask, leftists are still asking for more money.
Exactly.
They're asking for more money.
Exactly. And well, they're asking for more money because kids aren't learning.
Right.
It's like, well, Why would you? But so you guys broke it and now you want more money to fix it, except we've given you more money and all it does is get worse. Yeah. And always the answer is more money. And make it make sense. It doesn't.
And by the way, for people, certainly people like me, I'm not going to put my kids into an indoctrination center, right? Where, because to me, the education is secondary to my kid's soul, right? So I have no alternative. And I broke this down the other day. Like, if you are a Christian, good luck sending your kid to a regular state school. Yep. You know all about this. You can't do it. So then you pull them out and you've either got to homeschool them or pay twice for the education. So I'm paying for some kids that I don't know for their education. And then I've got to go and pay again for my own. And all because I don't want them to be indoctrinated by the system, which they shouldn't even be talking about in school anyway.
Yeah. So just to kind of add to both of your points here, there was a Project Veritas video that came out at the end of the year where they were talking with this EPA employee. And it's shocking to just hear him brag about like, oh, yeah, we're spending money like it's going out of style. It's like we're like just throwing gold bars off the Titanic like it ain't no thing before Donald Trump gets in office. Watch.
So we're at the EPA. So a lot of attention. Amazing. So I do, you know, the Inflation Reduction Act. Have you heard of it? Yes. Okay, Biden's climate law. The money that we've given out like
Biden's climate law, the Inflation Reduction Act.
Last year we gave out like $50 billion. $50 million? Billion. $50 billion. Yes, for climate things. So like to go work for one of these places, I think would be really cool. What are the places that you've given them to? It's only been a few weeks, so it's a little early. But
just a few weeks.
Like green banks. So they're like nonprofit institutions that are like making it more financially feasible to build renewables, to do like climate projects. Now it's just how to get the money out as fast as possible before they come in and like talk. Really? Yeah. It truly feels like we're on the Titanic and we're throwing like gold bars off the edge. Does it really?
I mean,
who are the gold bars going to? Nonprofits, states, tribes, cities, any organizations like.
This should incense every single American.
It's like a big thing that most of the stuff we funded, but the thing that we haven't funded yet are like the local nonprofit program.
I mean, I don't understand how you watch that and you're not furious with the system that they set up, to Eric's point, to be inefficient. They don't care.
And it's not their money. That's why they don't care.
They don't, right. They don't care
at all.
They don't care. So obviously we got to shut that shit down. If that's happening, we got to shut that. I mean, we know it's happening. We got to shut that shit down. And then on top of all of that, I heard Ukraine they were caught off guard that the United States has cut off foreign aid. Caught off guard. Oh, well, cry about it, I guess, because I want to just to show you a contrast here of North Carolina still trying to pick up the pieces from Hurricane Helene. They got like $770 from FEMA. Meanwhile, look at Kiev. At the same time, Asheville versus Kiev. Looks like they're prosperous to me over there in Ukraine with all of our money that they're stealing from us. And meanwhile, our own citizens can't even get government help when they've just lost everything. That should show you all you need to know. That should show you all you need to know. And any leftist mainstream media outlet who's trying to make it sound like Donald Trump has caused chaos by cutting off the faucet should absolutely never be trusted ever again.
People would figure it out, and that's why they are so desperate to like conjure up these narratives, right? Because if they cut it all off, I'm talking all every bit of legitimate there's no such thing as legitimate welfare if it's being funded by the state. But you get what it is that I'm saying. All these stupid food stamp programs, all that. If they got rid of all that shit, trust me, people would figure it out.
Yep.
They would. They always do. Yep. That's how they always do, especially if you were taxing them less, right? Mm-hmm. If you wanted, it's funny, it's never proposed, right? If you really wanted to sort of kickstart the American economy, stop taxing people like you do, right? That incentivizes them to spend a lot more. Yet that's not even on the table for a lot of people to even consider doing. It's always we need more money from rich people to subsidize the government to do other retarded shit. Yeah. It doesn't make any sense. Like, and I'm saying this as I'm like not just a guy talking out of my ass. I'm a multi-million-dollar business owner, right? With the money that these fools are taxing me, do you not understand how many more people I could employ?
Right.
Yeah.
Right? I could give them money so they could eat for themselves, right? I could do that. We do it a lot more often, and I know other business owners feel me on this. If we weren't having to account for this crazy amount of money that the federal government wants in some sort of stupid tax, right? And that's in addition to them getting taxed as well as far as their income, like the employees that choose to work here.
And one of the most cunning things that I think that they did was create the payment in their checks, so the people don't see it. They really they don't see it as much. If everyone, the payroll tax, if everyone had to write a check to the IRS quarterly, like I'm sure you do, I do as well. I'm sure you do as well. If everyone had to actually physically write the check to the IRS, I am convinced that there would be a revolt.
Well, here's the thing that nobody wants to talk about. Let's just say I've got two proposals. Firstly, we should tie the budget to the wages of people in Congress. That's it. If you don't balance the budget, then, you have to forfeit your wage. You don't get paid.
Right.
They would get that sorted
Very
quickly.
quickly.
That's true.
Right. And secondly, abolish the Fed, right? Get rid of all kind of tax. And let's see how many people, because they're going about, especially Hollywood. I'm telling you right now, especially Hollywood, we need to fund this. There's nothing stopping you from doing that.
You're not taxed anymore, so you ain't got no excuse.
But here's the thing. They can give more taxes if they want to.
Right.
You do minimal amount of taxes. They can give double their taxes if they want to. Why don't they do that? Why don't they do that? And let's see you put your money where your mouth is, because I would much rather give this money to my local church or to a local community. Like we've said this before, when you've been on. You want to go and build a playground? Watch it get done like this, super fast and for half the price, right?
Exactly right.
We need to do this. This is an amazing step. And you're right. Actually, I'll take it one step further. With everything being electronic, if you had to count out those dollars, that would end. They would be like, how much? I've got this pile, and I've got to give this much of the pile to them, and they're going to go and spend it on a shrimp running on a treadmill.
Right.
It would be done.
Yeah, I know. All right, let's go ahead and take a quick break. We'll be back with more. I want to get into more from that just epic press conference with Karoline Leavitt. First, I want to thank our sponsor, Jase Medical. So look, Jase Medical is there for those of you. I understand Donald Trump is back in the White House. Wait, go to the side camera. The other one, there it is, Daddy's home. I understand that Daddy's home, okay? But there's still things that you need to worry about and be prepared about, like natural disasters. He can't really control that. And so in the event that there's an emergency, how are you going to feed your family? You need emergency food. You need emergency medicine too. That's the thing. Nobody talks about emergency medicine. Everyone talks about emergency food. You guys need to be prepared on multiple different levels. What would happen if you guys were in an emergency situation and you needed a life-saving medication and you didn't have it? Well, it's a life-saving medication, so I'll let you do the math on that one. Go get the Jase case from Jase Medical. It contains a personalized emergency kit that can treat the most common and deadly bacterial infections. So it's there in case you need it. 5 life-saving antibiotics for emergency use. Plus, you can add on you can add on ivermectin. You can add on an EpiPen if you've got someone with an allergy. Just so make sure that you customize it to fit your family's needs in the event of an emergency. You can go to jase.com, enter code Sarah10 at checkout for a discount on your order. That is promo code Sarah10 at jase.com. This press conference, first one of the new White House, new press secretary. She is also Karoline Leavitt, the youngest press secretary in history. She is 27 years old, absolutely schooling these adults who are much older than her on very simple matters. So just for the sake of time here, because I know I don't want to run out of time. We've got a lot to get to. Let's go to this exchange between Karoline Leavitt. She had a couple of them, but I want to go to the shorter one here, Stephen. Karoline Leavitt talking about all of these, but the poor criminals are leaving the country. Oh no, but what about those who don't have criminal backgrounds? Oh, wait, Karoline Leavitt has a line of sanity here. Watch.
Of the 3,500 arrests ICE has made so far since President Trump came back into office, can you just tell us the numbers? How many have a criminal record versus those who are just in the country illegally?
All of them, because they illegally broke our nation's laws and therefore they are criminals as far as this administration goes. I know the last administration didn't see it that way, so it's a big culture shift in our nation to view someone who breaks our immigration laws as a criminal, but that's exactly what they are.
All of them. It's that simple. We talk about it all the time on this show. They're all criminals. The moment that they enter this country when they shouldn't be here, they are a criminal. That's why it's called illegal immigration. Just the fact that they enter this country, they're already a criminal. Sanity has entered the building, guys. Sanity is back. Now, I want to play a couple more exchanges here, and I want to get your thoughts on this. It's just such a stark contrast between her and KJP, who the blinking, let me read directly from my notes because I don't have an original thought in this small, tiny pea brain of mine. And Karoline's just like, guys, don't worry. I've got this. Here, let me play one more for you. This is Karoline Leavitt on the egg shortage that Donald Trump has not solved in 5 days. Watch.
Just real quick, you mentioned the inflation executive order the president signed, but egg prices have skyrocketed since President Trump took office. So what specifically is he doing to lower those costs for Americans?
Really glad you brought this up, because there is a lot of reporting out there that is putting the onus on this White House for the increased cost of eggs. I would like to point out to each and every one of you that in 2024, when Joe Biden was in the Oval Office, or upstairs in the residence sleeping, I'm not so sure, egg prices increased 65% in this country.
Not reading
we
this from
also have seen the cost of everything,
word
not
for
just
word.
eggs. Bacon, groceries, gasoline have increased because of the inflationary policies of the last administration. As far as the egg shortage, what's also contributing to that is that the Biden administration in the Department of Agriculture directed the mass killing of more than 100 million chickens, which has led to a lack of chicken supply in this country, therefore a lack of egg supply, which is leading to the shortage.
Duh. I love that she's like, he asks the dumb question, how come egg prices haven't gone down? It's been a whole week. And she's like, so I'm actually really glad you asked that because I can't wait to give you my answer. It was like a masterclass in communicating with the mainstream media. Watching her do it, it's just such a breath of fresh air.
Yeah, I mean, look, when you are, I don't want to say debating, but having conversations with these people, you can't allow them to operate on their own terms. And I think that's what she does very well, right? Mm-hmm. So, for example, even on that subject matter of immigration, they try to preface the conversation as if we supposed to, or they are, or rather she and her administration are supposed to just accept the term, right? Or the concept that there's like this massive differentiation as far as the criminality. How you feel about immigration is irrelevant. I'm just talking about the type of language it is they're doing. And she's just saying like, no, we're not going to operate on whatever you think this term means. We're going to operate on what it actually fundamentally means as far as what we're doing. So, technically they're all doing something illegal. If technically they're all criminals. Again, it doesn't matter how you feel about that specific subject matter. I think that's the master class of it all, and where I think the people on the right as well as libertarians have got it so wrong when having these conversations with leftists is that they'll even completely redefine terms. Yep. And instead of us like sticking to it and saying, no, wait, this is how this term is defined, and I'm not going to move away from that. Yeah. We accept their new definition, and then we try to argue against that. It's always a critical error.
Yeah. I mean, that was a masterclass in communication. I watched the majority of it, and she was very clear. Like you said, I mean, if anyone wants to look at getting into public speaking, you want to go and watch her. Oh,
100%.
She is amazing. And like you said, I mean, she virtually never referred down to her binder. She knows her stuff. She came up with something, I was watching it, some kind of law that she spoke. I was like, where did you get that from? Because I always look at these things on a performance level, because you meet so many people, especially politicians that talk in a certain way, right? They have that, and KJP was so bad. She was so bad that this is not only a breath of fresh air, but I think there's been a shift. That press corps was completely deflated. I don't know if you noticed that. They weren't like, well, because they're like, I got nothing.
I got
I got
nowhere to
nothing.
go.
What am I going to do? I know that the country's in a shit show right now.
Yeah.
Actually, like deep inside, I'm kind of glad he's doing it. I'm sure there's a bunch of them that are like, oh, you know, can you bring the prices down a bit? And I think that having Trump in 2016 and having that experience, I think they look exhausted. Don't you think they're like, oh, I'm not going to win this?
Well, it would be exhausting trying to come up with some way to hit at Donald Trump at what he's done so far. It's just all been too amazing for them to do. That's why, again, to Eric's point, they're trying to, well, but what about the ones that aren't criminals? No, they all are. Next question, they all are. So to that point, a couple different things here. We don't have time to play the clip, but I do want to give props for the new White House creating a new media seat within this White House press conference room, because they are going to allow independent journalists, content creators, podcasters to apply for White House press credentials so that they can go in that room and ask questions. They recognize that the landscape is changing, that people can't just trust. Yeah, it's incredible. It's so incredible. They recognize that, hey, Donald Trump just won in large part because he went on these podcasts that are being listened to way more than the mainstream media. They are way more relevant at this point than the mainstream media. We here in this building are way more relevant than the mainstream media. And so acknowledging that and giving them access, I think, is incredible. But also to the point of transparency, you may recall Donald Trump when he was signing executive orders. Someone asked him about the drones that we talked about in New Jersey that kept popping up, and everyone was like, what's going on? And the Biden White House was like, we have no idea. Our people don't know. We have absolutely no idea what is happening. And Donald Trump was like, yeah, can we figure out, Susie, get on that. I want to figure that out, and I want to get the answer to the American people. Well, they did that today in this press conference. Here was the drone explanation that we found out today.
After research and study, the drones that were flying over New Jersey in large numbers were authorized to be flown by the FAA for research and various other reasons. Many of these drones were also hobbyists, recreational, and private individuals that enjoy flying drones. In time, it got worse due to curiosity. This was not the enemy. A statement from the President of the United States to start this briefing with some news.
So they did know all along. They knew the FAA under Joe Biden authorized it. But they allowed you to speculate. I mean, it's like, they knew, or did they know because they were so incompetent? Well, someone authorized it. And so now we have the answers. It's just as simple as that. Just a good house cleaning, and all of a sudden you get actual answers for, transparency in government. Really great to see. All right, we've got to take a quick break. We're going to be back with more, but I want to thank our sponsor of this segment, Patriot Mobile. So Patriot Mobile, we were just with Patriot Mobile over the weekend, over at the Denton County event, and I see them everywhere. You know why? Because they are grassroots. They're grassroots activists, just like, all of us. And they show up to these places, and they are putting their money where their mouth is in terms of really changing this country and changing the culture. And if you're still giving money to Big Mobile, I don't know what the hell you're doing. Patriot Mobile is going to give you, it's like the same nationwide service, but you're actually supporting a company that supports you, supports your values, and works to, of course, achieve more conservative, everything in this country. Odds are they're going to save you money as well. So there's no reason not to go check them out. You can go to patriotmobile.com/Sarah. They've got all sorts of plans, customize everything, keep your number, get a new one, keep your phone, get a new one, customize it however you'd like, but just make sure you go check them out, check out their plans. I bet they're going to save you money. patriotmobile.com/Sarah. Get a free month of service with promo code Sarah. That is patriotmobile.com/Sarah. Well, we were just talking about the border situation, and it is escalating quite quickly. Border Patrol in Texas here exchanged gunfire with cartel members at the border yesterday. And so, you had these cartel members. One of them, they're they're dressed in black, and they're pointing guns at drones. This is going to be... Listen, they're a foreign terrorist organization, and they have been labeled as such. So I around find out, I guess. You have Border Patrol agents being fired upon from the river by suspected cartel gunmen as a group of illegals were crossing the river. Now, apparently those illegals did not make it over. Oh, shoot. They didn't make it. They did not get to claim their asylum status or whatever the hell they were thinking that they were going to do. But it's just been fascinating to watch not just Donald Trump's execution, but the way that this is escalating quickly. Now, I'm of the opinion, and I realize it's very easy for me to say right here in my studio rather than actually fighting at the border, but like it's going to escalate. It's going to happen. So I'm of the opinion, like, let's just rip the Band-Aid off and get this shit done. And so now we're seeing this, you know, the cartels are running the Mexican government. They just are. But they're also in our country too. We've got, you know, the Venezuelan gangs in 19 states. You've got them trafficking fentanyl. And so it's like, you know, if we need to escalate this because they're escalating it first, I guess that's what we have to do. But we're going to make sure that the priority here is keeping Americans safe. And you have a Border Patrol who has now been empowered to do that.
Look, we talk about escalating. The truth is these guys didn't all of a sudden become very violent, right? They've always been violent. The Border Patrol has always been at risk. Mm-hmm. They've always known that there's a potential that they can be harmed. They just haven't had the means to go back at them because we've had a weak government. The people that are crossing with them, I was actually going to do a little bit of crying there, like, you know, but, you know, the kind of like Selena Gomez cry again. But the truth is if people were really compassionate, like they say they are, like they're crying about these people coming, they'd understand that these animals are brutalizing them on the way.
Right.
That these people are being brutalized by the same people that you just saw there, and the arrogance that they have to point a gun at a drone, right? That should be the equivalent of pointing a gun at a police officer. Sarah, it's going to escalate. Anyone that knows the history of the cartels, the way that they were trained, who they were trained by, they're massively violent. I mean, very, very violent, actually very well organized. And it's going to take more than the Customs and Border Patrol to take them down. And that's just a fact, right? Yeah. The military is our elite troops are going to have to go against them.
Right.
It's just the way it is. So I think that what we're going to see is Tom Homan's going out there and he's flushing these people out right now. There's a lot of people leaving. But in my opinion, we are going to see shooting in the streets of the United States to get rid of these people because they're not going to go.
I agree. Well, I mean, think about how much money they've made off of this industry. I mean, this is an industry for them, right? Trafficking people, getting paid to traffic people, to traffic drugs into our country has been a giant, just like money funnel for them. So they're not gonna go away quickly.
That's what empowered the cartels in the first place, and this is why. Look. Sure, there were plenty of people ringing the alarm on the dangers of the drug war and how it was being handled by the federal government. I think early on, Trump was even, talking about some of that stuff. But it's to a point now where we could sit up here and talk about how we could have prevented it. It doesn't matter. We're here where we are right now, so it's going to be dealt with one way or another. They're too empowered, and yes, it is the fault of the American government in a lot of cases, right? We know, and it's not just with that. We know even with Obama and Fast and Furious and running guns to cartel members and in terrorist organizations and stuff like that. Like it sucks, but here we are. So unfortunately, I do believe that there will be some sort of conflict between the two because obviously the cartels have a lot to lose.
Right.
A lot to lose. So if their vessel is just shut down like that, I mean, they're not just going to say, oh, well, I guess we're going to have to find something else new to do. No, they're going to try to preserve it. And with that means violence. And unfortunately for them, they're going to find out that the biggest gang in the world ain't the cartels. It ain't them. It's the United States government and their military folk. And whether it be for good or for bad, that's the biggest gang right there. And they'll find out soon enough. But I do think it is going to get to a point to where, I mean, we've already sort of saw that, right? Well, I can't remember what it was, 1,500, 15,000. I can't remember what the actual number was of active military men that were sent to the border in the first place. I think that you maybe see that number increase. That said, this is going to be a much different conflict from fighting people out in Afghanistan, right?
Well, and here's the other thing. I'll tell you this right now. We have 4 million veterans, 4 million combat-hardened veterans that have fought for the last 20 years. And these guys and gals are hard as nails, right? The amount of veterans that have come and spoken to me, because, you know, we know people in the administration, and they say, we will go to the border for free. We want to volunteer because they've gone over and they fought for this country in Afghanistan and Iraq. You think they're going to sit back and let it happen? Like let the cartels do something here in this country? They're not having it. And I've had loads of people come to me and say, can you get me in contact with this person, that person, because I want to go and volunteer my time. So it's like you said, Eric, you're right. There's a lot of very, very tough people out there that are very, very professional as well. They know the score. And by the way, when people talk about the American military, we're like about 4 times as strong as the Chinese military, right?
No, that's
it's just the reality
it's not
of it.
Secret. Like they're the biggest gang. Like they are. And I mean, again, it's for a lot of times, if not most of the time, it's for worse. Definitely because they get involved in other people's affairs. But I think this is a completely different sort of scenario that we're dealing with here, because for one, you're talking about being very, very close to American land there, and they're not having to go all the way over there in the Middle East. That's a completely different kind of conflict. And if it does hit, I would not be surprised that it gets unfortunately violent very quickly. And it's their war as far as the United States military is concerned to win. The unfortunate thing is that they have this sort of regime with the Mexican government that's all in on it anyway. Right. So this is why they weren't going to curb it. And that puts look, I'm not this one is like not realist sort of libertarians. That's like kumbaya. If we just be pacifists, right? Everything's going to resolve itself. No, I'm not a retard. I totally understand.
I'm not retarded.
I totally understand how this type of stuff works. And yeah, there's a conflict brewing. And it's one that the American military is going to come out on top. And again, it may get violent really quick.
Putting military resources towards a border conflict that exists on the other side of the world, retarded. Putting our military resources on our own border to solve the conflict,
that's a much more preferable thing. I think even under the libertarian position, that's a much more preferable, definitely under minarchist sort of theory. That's what, if the government is to exist,
that's what it's for, right? Like it's one of you have one job. That's it. So you should do that and not all of the other things that you're doing. All right, we got to take a quick break. We will be back with more, but I want to thank our sponsor of this segment, Angel Studios. So Angel Studios has really been instrumental in putting out content that is actually family friendly, that you know that you're not going to go and there's going to be some like weird trans storyline and they're going to be trying to indoctrinate your children into all these crazy radical ideologies. They're committed to woke-free content. They're the ones, of course, who came out with Sound of Freedom. And now they've got a new one coming out, or it's out already. It's called Brave the Dark. And it's an inspiring true story about a troubled teen struggling to survive in a world that has let him down. But it's actually uplifting. The end of it is uplifting. It's a great film. I encourage you to go see Brave the Dark, if for nothing else than to make sure that Hollywood knows that you're not going to give your money to this woke crap anymore. You can get your tickets today at angel.com/Sarah. That is angel.com/Sarah. Oh, well, I heard that we have some life-changing news from CNN's Jim Acosta. Let's check out his big announcement.
And I just wanted to end today's show by thanking all of the wonderful people who work behind the scenes at this network. You may have seen some reports about me and the show. And after giving all of this some careful consideration and weighing an alternative time slot CNN offered me, I've decided to move on.
Oh,
one final
no.
message. Don't give in to the lies. Don't give in to the fear. Hold on to the truth and to hope. Even if you have to get out your phone, record that message. I will not give in to the lies. I will not give in to the fear. Post it on your social media so people can hear from you too. I'll have more to say about my plans in the coming days. But until then, I want to thank all of you for tuning in. It has been an honor to be welcomed into your home for all these years. That's the news. Reporting from Washington, I'm Jim Acosta.
Say it ain't so. No, Jim Acosta's gone from CNN. All right, I'm fine. So Jim Acosta, to Karoline Leavitt's point at the White House press conference, the scene is changing. And it turns out nobody likes you, Jim Acosta, and nobody listens to you, Jim Acosta. And so you're gone. Bye-bye. I want to read to you guys the Donald Trump Truth Social post. This was right before Jim Acosta confirmed that he was, in fact, leaving. He said, wow, really good news. Jim Acosta, one of the worst and most dishonest reporters in journalistic history, a major sleazebag, has been relegated by CNN fake news to the midnight hour Death Valley because of extraordinarily bad ratings and no talent. Word is that he wants to quit, and that would be even better. Jim is a major loser who will fail no matter where he ends up. Good luck, Jim.
That is him. He did that.
You know for a fact there is nobody else sending that post off other than Donald freaking Trump. That is all him. That is all him on his phone, like speaking there. That's hilarious. Warner's going through a lot of problems. So therefore, CNN is going to have its issues. Sounds like they tried to demote him. He said, I didn't want that damn midnight time slot. I'm out of here. So it goes to show, well, they knew he sucked and they needed to make an adjustment. And even their accommodations didn't work. They wanted him gone, so he's gone.
I love that he even admitted that they offered him that time slot in his departure. He's like, well, we discussed a potential time slot change, but ultimately, I'm like, you don't want to admit that. That's embarrassing that you're confirming that they wanted to move you to, as Donald Trump said, Death Valley.
He's like, yeah, they offered me the spot at 3:00 in the morning from the broom cupboard in Transylvania. And I thought, no, but here's the thing. It's like CNN's like, after 6 years, I won't accept any more of this bad. But look, he's gone. He's made millions of dollars. He's still made millions of dollars. He's going to go off and he's going to get another gig somewhere or do his own thing. But wouldn't it be interesting if he decided to report and go on X? Because you already said, and listen, what he was saying was go and get your phones, go and report. We were like, please do. Please go and report. Please go and take your phones. Please go and do that. These guys are done. The mainstream media it's over for them. There's no coming back.
And you have the Jim Acostas of the world to thank for that. So, as Donald Trump said, good luck, Jim.
I don't know if he's going to be a private journalist, but he'll probably get
He'll try. I think he'll try.
will.
I mean, well, because to your point, Don Lemon, he has tried that as well. I don't think it's going well for him.
Oh, no.
Same with Keith Olbermann, Brian Stelter. The only one that you could say, I'm sure he's not making as much money, but he has a stable position, is Chris Cuomo at News Nation, as far as I know. But he seems to be the only one that's kind of landed on his feet. And you know what? It couldn't happen to a more deserving group of people. They've made millions off of lying to you. And, I think it's called a little karma.